overlooked. It's like, gotta take care of that. But no, yes, thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. And we're just hopping right on into the game, guys. It's best of 9, Bomber versus Haas. So a Protoss versus Terran. And yeah, here we are. It's just awesome. Bomber is not retired. He's hitting the grind hard. So spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map, it is J-Team's Haas, the Taiwanese Protoss player, sort of a mixed bag. And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Bomber. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track of whether pro gamers are playing anymore or anything like that. Geonet just resubscribed. Thank you so much, my man. As usual with these events, just sort of getting started, waking up a little bit. We'll become a bit more lively as it goes on. As yeah, it's just like 6 a.m. here, so. Bomber rejoining Red Bull would be so sick. That would be really awesome. Anyway, so we've got a player here who it's a good idea to keep an eye on what he's doing. It's Haas, so he's a very sort of cheeky Protoss player. We'll see what he's up to. A probe moving out on the map. Whether this is just for scouting or for some shenanigans, it's tough to know. We'll take a look here, though. Probe just going to be coming on in, scouting out. Usually it is standard in the meta for PvT that it is the Protoss player who wants to be able to see what the Terran's up to, make sure that there's no proxy or anything. And that's kind of the big question of what's going to happen today. Is Haas going to steal that gas? Yes, he is. Of course he is. He's Haas. He's like, all right, I got to do something that's a little bit weird. So Haas stealing Bomber's gas right out of the gate. Bomber now crossing the map with his own SCV. I'm curious to see how much Bomber knows about Haas, whether he's going to be prepared for something like this. Whereas Haas already got a Cybercore Adept on the way, Nexus on the way. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. By the way, guys, make sure to share the stream out. I sent out a tweet, so you can check out that, and if you retweet it, that would help out a lot. And then, of course, there's the match arena, standard stuff for running one of these events. All right, there we go. Haas throwing up a pylon, though. This is actually his 3rd pylon going up. So planning to proxy something, not the usual proxy timing. So Reaper gets on in for Bomber. Trying to pick off a probe here. So far, good micro from Haas. Keeping 2 of them alive. Bomber weakening those down. Gets one of them. Ooh, diving around. So far, gets off 2 probes. This is a bit painful for Protoss players. Oh, man. Oh, God. Okay, Bomber killed off 4 probes so far with this Reaper. This is not a good start for Haas. That's really painful for Haas. I guess I'm not sure about the timings, but I guess his Nexus sort of delayed things a little bit. Meanwhile, Haas now poking in with his Adept. Gotta be careful. Adept going to be shading out to get away from the units that Bomber has as he takes his natural, but this is already really hurting for Haas. You're not supposed to lose 5 probes this early on. Reaper going to be coming on in, Haas going to be intercepting it. So far, no, that's a fantastic start for Bomber. Just your first Reaper. Like, the normal timings can work out that the Reaper can get 1 or 2 probes depending on micro. That many, though, really hurts in the early game. That's like that's a Reaper versus me when I'm playing Protoss. Okay, now here we see Bomber's gonna come on in with this Reaper, pick off another probe. This is really painful, and Reapers can get out from down there, so it's completely fine. Bomber might have been a little bit thrown off by this gas, but look at this Haas actually poking just with Stalkers and Adepts here. I didn't even see these get across the map. He picks off the Widowmine, though, and he's actually repaying the favor a little bit. Bomber picks off 5 SCVs so far. A Widowmine did get set up, so Haas does need to be careful. He didn't proxy a gateway. He's just slowly warping in units. Picks off the Widowmine. There's 4 Stalkers here. 4 Stalkers versus non-stim Bio can always poke and prod. Just gotta volley down those Marines, Haas. You want to be focusing those units down. Micro that injured Stalker back. And this is actually pretty darn good for Haas. Bomber's doing a good job. That medevac's helping keep his Marines alive. However, he does want to retreat to that bunker. Haas just bullying his opponent for now. And okay, Haas getting a bit of counter damage done. More and more stalkers though. Even adding a zealot in here. Haas is really committing. This is just off the back of 3 gates right now. I mean, Bomber, he definitely knows that this is on the way. I'm curious if he scouted it beforehand. No, he didn't see it. So he was a little caught off guard. He has a tech lab on his factory, but he's not making a siege tank. The Cyclone's going to help him a little bit. Stalkers step forward into the fire of that bunker, though. Picks off the Cyclone, removing that from the equation. The Zealot buffering for Nova is going to go on down. 3 more SCVs falling, so Haas getting a nice bit of counter damage done. However, that being said, Bomber has a 3rd CC on the way, and Haas isn't going to kill Bomber. The damage done still is not enough. His opening, he just lost a lot of probes early on, so the worker count is equal. However, Bomber does have all this extra production getting on up. Also, Red Rider BB Gun just subscribed with hashtag legalized stim pack. I think that's a movement we can all get behind. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, even though it's been a little inactive for a while, but nice to be getting back into the swing of things. Dark Shrine on the way from Haas, so even he agrees that he's a little bit behind here. So one behind Dark Shrine. Bomber could be caught off guard by something like this. He has an engineering bay up, however, he knows he lost some workers, so he might be dropping mules non-stop. Interestingly enough, Bomber's moving out with just a medivac. I don't know if this is just a scout or what. Is this medivac just to like spot a prism or something that comes on in? It's a little bit risky when there was all those stalkers out on the map to have your medivac just floating over dead space, but no, there it goes. Gonna be moving across the map now. 1-1 is on the way for Haas getting charged. Is he gonna do Blink DT? Is Haas gonna do a 2-base Blink DT versus Bomber? I mean, that, they did buff that. Adjust the game volume. Suppose we can do that. Don't know if that would have helped a little bit, but yes, thank you for feedback and everything, guys. Does help out, letting me know how I need to adjust things. So, no blink on the Dark Templar. 3rd base on the way for Haas. And Haas just warping in more and more DTs. So 5 DTs, and he's going to be getting charged. He's going to have 1-1. So he's going to be trying to hit a timing attack versus Bomber. Bomber has floated over his 3rd command center. This is the sort of Madman Haas thing. He's down on supply by a huge margin, but what do you do when 5 DTs roll on up? Blink is being researched, not for the DTs. However, oh my god, Haas, he actually just pulls Bomber out of position and runs 2 DTs into every base. This is actually disastrous for Bomber. He's not prepared. He's trying to throw up a turret right away. However, this is more than the usual number of DTs. SCVs are falling incredibly fast right now. Haas killed off 14. Gonna want to be careful. Split up these DTs so that one scan can't clean them all out. Over Bomber, he did drop a lot of mules. He's gonna have a scan now. However, where do you scan? There's so many DPs. Wouldn't mind pick off 2 of them. There's more in the main base. Haas actually running by a missile turret that Bomber did set up. Gotta split those DTs up. Gotta be careful to keep him alive to get as much value as he can. Yeah, I'm seeing someone say cancel stim. Did he? Oh, did he actually cancel stim pack? Oh my god, I didn't even catch that. Pardon me. So Bomber forced to restart stim pack here. Pardon me for missing that, guys. I was focused on them getting into the mineral line. But no, okay, Haas just killed the 3rd base. Oh my god. Did Haas just destroy Bomber? Bomber now down to 34 workers. Army supplies equal, however, Stimpack was cancelled. And did Haas just win the game? Oh my god, I think Haas just won this game. He's now got 2-2 on the way. Bomber has +1, however, yeah, Bomber, he just got destroyed by these DTs. He's going to boost on over with these medivacs, however, is he going to get spotted or something here? And Haas, he's got Blink already. He's going to have Archons now, a ton of charge lots. And just destroyed Bomber. Like, Haas's opening didn't get a lot done, but then the follow-up just destroyed his opponent. Stim ways away. The 3rd base is gone. That was never evacuated, so Haas was able to pick that off. Bomber was thrown into chaos and he wasn't ready for it. Haas is now crossing the map. Could be caught off guard a little bit by this drop heading into his main base if he's out on the map. However, he does always have, or he doesn't actually have a recall to his main base. Bomber waiting for Stimpack, it would seem, before he goes on in for this drop. He's now moving across the map with some of his bio. Might be able to do the standard Terran thing in which you can potentially pull your opponent out of position. Bomber forced to retreat though, loses a medivac. He does have these guys who are now going to boost on into the main base. If he unpowers this pylon, that would actually be huge. No orphans to react to this would be very, very nice for Bomber. He's going to start working away on that. There's the recall. The Nexus did have enough energy, so Bomber is going to have to get away from there, not actually evacuating these units. Stalker's going under. Bomber's going to have to trade on out, however. Only some of his units are going to get away from here. He's now going to be crossing the map with the rest of his army. Hosto doing a good job splitting this up, being prepared for this, and this is just looking very rough for Bomber. He lost 4 SCVs back at home to something. And now he's moving across the map with the remainder of his bio. However, he's down on upgrades by a very severe amount. He's lost tons of supply here. Army supply is equal, and you want to say there's a chance with bio kiting versus zealots and stalkers. He's now going to be doing just that. Haas actually overcommitting a little bit right now. So Bomber able to push on in. He's got a good number of medivacs and bio. This is typical Bomber right here. Haas though with Guardian Shield is going to even help these units stay alive longer. And Bomber knows it's over. GG. Haas takes game number 1. After that crazy, crazy proxy. Okie dokie, so next map gonna be Bomber's pick. And yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in today as Bomber versus Haas. What more can you want? As is usual protocol with these sort of things, make sure to check out that Matcherino, and I do apologize for missing some of the observing early on. We'll get on into the swing of things. It's been a while since I did one of these. Kairos Junction gonna be the next map. Okie dokie. Let me just get that image up. That's what we want. There we go. Okie dokie. We'll get everyone on into the next game. And I also want to say a big thanks to DSK for supporting the event. He has supported the previous event and this one, and probably the reason why we've done more of these, and just contributing a very nice amount, making it so that we'll be able to probably do at least one more of these. Okie dokie. Looks like everyone's ready, so we're going to get on into it. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. This is the 14th one of these events. And yeah, there is Matcherino. All the events do Matcherino, guys. If you have a Twitch account or a Twitter account, literally all. I see Cassid contributed $7.50, by the way. That is awesome. Just use the code GAMES14. Helps support these players. Anyway, it's a best of 9. We're now into match number 2. This guy up in the top left-hand side of the map got himself a 1-0 lead from J-Team. It's Haas. And in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's Bomber. I almost want, like, it would be so sick if Bomber got sponsored by Red Bull again. That would be something that would be really cool. As his name is pretty much just synonymous with it. So, who knows if that would ever happen. I know the Red Bull still sponsors Nurchio. Also, I'm seeing a couple of follows coming on in, like, I'm not going to be able to call them all out, but, for example, Rage Violet 88 and Nate Diggs 88. Thank you guys so much for following and supporting the channel. Probe going to be moving across the map for Haas already. Just getting that gateway up. Going to be moving across there. So Haas seems to be opening with a standard gateway expand for starters. Comes on in with his probe, heads right on out. Got his cyber core on the way, so standard opening from Haas. And I mean, he just threw up that pylon, warped in some stalkers. The opening for Haas, like that opening stalker attack didn't do too well. It was the follow-up DTs that just ripped Bomber apart, canceled Stim, killed off all of his workers, allowed his third base to be picked off. Dictus with the 5-month resub. That's actually insane. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Been doing these a while now, but I really appreciate you guys staying around, tuning into pretty much all of these events that I put on. Factory on the way for Bomber. Got it, finished up his reactor. No Reaper for Bomber, actually. He did skip the Reaper. Interestingly enough, just went for an SCV scout, crossed the map, confirmed the Nexus, and said that's enough for me. So now he's just reactoring out Marines. Allowed him to get up his factory a little bit quicker by delaying that Reaper. Twilight Council is on the way for Haas. Blink on the way, so going to be a Blink opening coming out of Haas. We'll see if it's like a planned aggression or passive. With Haas, you can generally assume it's going to be one of those passive, or one of those passive plays usually, I'd say, but Blink attacks, you can never rule them out entirely. More gateways going on up, and it's Haas after all, so who knows what he's planning. 2 more gateways going up, heading up to his third gate there, so we'll see. I mean, Bomber does have a siege tank on the way already. Stim pack or combat shield on the way for Bomber. Okay, looks like Bomber could be planning to go for a bit of a tank push here versus Haas. Combat shield usually indicates that you want to get across the map with a good number of Marines quickly, and that's what Bomber's been doing. He's been making a good number of Marines. He skipped his Reaper so he could get out his earlier Marine production from that earlier reactor. And now he's just making tanks, getting combat shield on the way. This is interesting though. Haas is going to have Blink, which does exceptional versus... Blink does exceptional versus units without Stim, or any major upgrades or anything like that, or any medivac support, and that's exactly what Bomber's not going to have. There we go, Bomber, he's got 2 tanks, all these Marines now. Haas with his Blink though, we'll see how he does. He'll have to try and kite back, micro these units as well as he can. Marines, siege tanks, going to be pushing these units back. Haas is going to be doing the best that he can in order to whittle these units down. A lot of these Marines have been bruised up. Tanks are actually taking one for the team. Bomber allowing the SCVs to repair them. However, one of the tanks does get focused down. That is wonderful for... That is absolutely wonderful for Haas. Bomber's still moving across the map with all of his Marines. He's bruised up a lot of these stalkers. Haas has done a good job keeping them alive. It really is on this tank in order to get set on up, which is going to allow Bomber to start choking out his opponent now. Back at home, though, Bomber's actually not committing to this attack. He hasn't been rallying anything more across the map. This attack is not going to work out for Bomber from the scene of things. Haas just with a ton of Blink Stalkers here. And back at home, Bomber has started Stim. He's getting up a bunker, however, he just has nothing, losing all of that. That just got completely shut down by Haas, really hurting Bomber. So Haas, he's got his third base on the way. He's blinking on top of the units that were crossing the map. Bomber doesn't really have much back at home. He's going to have a bunker. However, he went for that push, sort of neglecting to focus on anything else. No third command center on the way. He's now getting up his additional barracks at least. So he's going to be going up to 5 racks, 2 base. Over Haas, he's got 1-1 on the way. Going to be finished up soon, the +1 at least. Bomber will have stim, so there's always a chance he's one of those players with incredible bio fundamentals. +2 on the way for Haas, so just keeping those upgrades going. He's been dumping Chrono Boost into them, getting up more Warp Gates and getting up Charge. Bomber's going to have his +1 again, so it's almost going to be a similar situation to the last game. Concussive Shell is done for these Marauders, so these Stalkers get punished a little bit. Makes blinking away a little bit more uncomfortable for the Protoss. Haas, there we go. Impact for Bomber, able to help shut some of these Stalkers down. 2 of them fall. That being said, the main component is probably going to now be Zealots in Haas's army. He's now got 1-1. Bomber with his +1 attack, going to be coming in with his spy when he's made a lot of Marauders to shut down these Stalkers. However, Haas now, with all of these Zealots, which are going to do pretty darn well versus the Marauders. Bomber's tighten back. These Stalkers blink forward aggressively in order to close the distance. The Medivac can be vulnerable. The Bio has no choice but to retreat. The Widow Mines, Haas perfectly segmenting off 2 Zealots in order to nullify them. Bomber's in full-on retreat mode right now. He doesn't have enough bio to really stand versus this, so he's retreating back home up this ramp. Haas, he's coming forward with what he has. I don't know if Haas can really push up into this ramp. It's a little bit risky. Bomber now can punish these units with that Concussive Shell, able to send them back, send them packing. Bomber with these Medivacs going to heal these units. He's trying to get up a 3rd command center. Haas, he should be able to shut that down hard, though. Yeah, just blinks right on top of it. They're going to right-click on that. That 3rd command center not getting up for Bomber, has no choice but to cancel. Haas getting his +2 armor on the way. Bomber's going to boost across the map. Got to be so careful. Are these Medivacs going to be found? Oh my god, does Haas see them? Yes, Haas sees the Medivac, so Bomber knows he's got to unload. Got to retreat there. One of them gets blinked forward on. Bomber's now got these units trapped out on the map, which have no choice but to run around. And this is looking very, very concerning for Bomber right now. He's down on supply. Haas is heading into a 4th base. He's got +3 weapons on the way, just with such high upgrades compared to that of Bomber. Haas pushing in now is a little bit risky. There's all these Widow Mines here, so the Protoss player doesn't want to be too overzealous right now. Haas just so confident, though, with this army that he has. Bomber, he's actually up on army spine. Okay, Bomber's going to be going for it. He's pulling the boys, guys. It's time. All aboard. The SCV train is now going to be moving across the map. Bomber with these SCVs going to help buffer, help just sort of hold these Zealots back, and it's actually doing pretty well so far. All the Widow Mines are wandering forward right now for Bomber, and this is going to be a ton of mines. Haas tries to split the Zealots to the best of his ability. These mines actually unburrowed for Bomber, although, I mean, they're not getting a lot of pace time there. A few of them get connections off, however, most of the Widow Mines did nothing there. That being said, Haas lost pretty much all of his Zealots. He's warped in more. Bomber's spy was very overstim, though. Yeah, he just taps on out. GG. Haas able to take it. 2-0 lead for Haas. Next map is going to be Cyber Forest. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in, by the way. As is tradition, make sure to check out that Matcherino. We want to use all the codes. It's literally free money for the player, guys. For the players. So that's always something that's worth doing. Just games 14, unless all the codes are used up. There's probably still a couple more to use. And then if you guys like, you can check me out at !Caster. The VOD for this will be put up on YouTube. Then I tweet out about any other events and such that I do. Awesome to see so many of you guys tuning on into this. Turn up the microphone is feedback I'm getting here. It's weird, it's the same volume that I usually use. How about that? That might have made things a little bit better. Looks like everyone's ready though, so we're gonna get on into the next game. Yeah, it's weird, because Anyway, we're getting on into the next game. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. All right, here we are. It's a best of 9. He's got himself a 2-0 lead spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. It's J-Team's Haas. Haas has, spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's Bomber. Bomber. I mean, Bomber's been looking good. He's been hitting that grind. However, Haas seems to be doing what he wants here. Yeah, Bomber is an older pro, but he's still grinding hard. And okay, here's a bit of a Haas play. Gonna be proxying Bomber. Gonna be doing what looks like the 2-gate opening. However, you can never assume what Haas is gonna be doing. He's the guy from the famous Scarlet versus Bomber game. Guys, I'm going to be honest, I tried to make that show match happen, and maybe it will at some point. So Haas coming in with his probe being a nuisance. Bomber has an SCV. Is it going to scout out, or is it just going to cross the map? Just going to cross the map from the seam of things, and there's going to be a Zealot already queued up for Haas. The thing is, for Terran players, you should... Oh, Bomber does throw up his command center. This hurts for the Terran. The thing is, with this sort of opening, is once the Terran scouts there's no Nexus, scouts that the Cyber Core's on the way, you're like, alright, I know exactly what I'm up against. The issue is that you can't really save the command center, no matter how much you want to. Bomber's trying to get up a bunker, however, I think it's got to just be a little bit too late. Yeah, this Zealot's going to be out in, what, 5 seconds? Unless Bomber pulls some SCVs down here, there's not a chance this is getting up. He doesn't have any additional production on the way. It's going to be 1 Marine versus 2 Zealots. So Bomber, if he wants to keep this command center alive, he needs to micro that Marine back, and then he immediately needs to get some more SCVs down here. The bunker getting up is really all that Bomber needs, and if he can get that up and get the Marine into the bunker, that would be absolutely huge. Bomber's just got to get that Marine into the bunker. If he micros it in there, that, like, I don't know if 2 Zealots and a Stalker can handle that. So Haas just going to be trying to work around and bully this. Bomber with more Marines being produced, though. This is a really odd situation for the Terran player right now. His command center is not building. He does have an SCV in that there, so he should get that on the command center. Marines on the high ground going to be trying to hold this off. Bomber's factory is rather delayed, though. And okay, yeah, Haas, he's just going to start working away in this bunker. That SCV not helping out. The Marines not adding enough DPS. It looks like Bomber actually sending a lot of SCVs down to repair, though, and that's really helping out, keeping that bunker alive. More Marines coming on down. If they get into the bunker, that's going to be an absolute huge help. One of them goes down. The other makes it into the bunker, though. SCVs endlessly chasing these Stalkers, and Bomber, he needs to get an SCV on this command center. If he, say, had that one in the bunker, building that, it would have really helped him out from the start. More Marines coming down for Bomber. He's going to try and get on top of these Stalkers. He cannot allow these shield batteries to get up that Haas has begun building. He's trying to work away on this pylon right now. Marines are being focused down. He's got to pick off that pylon before the shield batteries get up, otherwise they'll just keep it alive. More Marines coming on down. Those shield batteries about to finish up, but Haas does cancel them. The command center will get up for Bomber after losing 5 SCVs. And the bunker holds, so Bomber seems to be holding on. Warp Prism on the way for Haas. Bomber going to be landing that command center at his naturalist. He did manage to keep it alive, turning it into an orbital. However, Haas is just going to be committing on in right now. He's got a Warp Prism, and that's going to cause a lot of trouble for the Terran player. A Widowmine's on the way out for Bomber. However, the concern is once there's that Prism out, the Stalkers can just be microed back indefinitely. That bunker's not even at full health. Bomber needs to pull something to repair it. And there's just going to be a lot of Stalkers on the front here for Haas, and Bomber's not scouted this. You generally want to know if the Protoss is transitioning or macroing or transitioning or continuing on, and the answer is Haas is continuing on. That bunker's going to fall. Bomber's not prepared for this. GG. Haas takes the 3-0 lead. All right, so this is looking a little bit brutal for Bomber. we will be finding out what the next map is. Have we managed to use all those Matcherino codes, guys, yet? Someone who hasn't should really go and check. We do want to use all those codes, though. And thanks so much to everyone for supporting the channel and whatnot, seeing some follows and everything come on in. Of course, any support that goes to the channel goes towards the next event. That will happen down the line at some point. And you can also check out me on YouTube and Twitter. I do a lot of casting for my YouTube channel. We're getting everyone on into the game. Yeah, Bomber wasn't in a bad spot there. He just underestimated the follow-up attack. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in, though. We're just making sure everyone gets on into the lobby. All right, everyone's ready, so we're going to get on into it. It is looking good for Haas, though. Whereas Bomber, he's having it a bit tough. This is why we do a best of 9. At least we get a good number of maps, and there's still time for Bomber to maybe bring it back. However, he's got himself a very comfortable position representing J-Team. It's Haas. And up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's Bomber. Red Rider BB Gun saying 5-3 for Bomber incoming. That would be something impressive. Haas throwing his pylon up on the low ground, interestingly enough. We'll see what he's going to be building next. Looks like this could be a Nexus first coming out of Haas, though. It will indeed be a Nexus first coming out of Haas. I can dig this build. Bomber's been skipping the Reaper, guys. And it's Port Alexander, and if there's a map that you're going to skip the Reaper on as a Terran, it's Port Alexander. We'll see if Bomber does skip that Reaper or not. After crazy aggression that's come his way from Haas, he's might be on his toes a little bit, and this is a perfect way for the Protoss player to capitalize on that. Instead of going for the heavy aggression, going for the heavy greed. And we'll see if Bomber's set up to punish that, and the answer is no. No Reaper on the way. Bomber starts the Marine, then immediately goes right into the reactor. That seems to be the way that he enjoys opening on up. And yeah, this is very, very nice. Haas gonna have himself an unpunished Nexus first. And this is how Bomber has been opening up every single game. Factory on the way for Bomber. Got his Marines on the way. It could be a similar looking tank push. There's that extra barracks. So yeah, this could be identical to the push in game number 1. Haas selecting to go for a Robo, following up his Nexus first. And it is, you guys saying in chat, 3 racks. It is indeed a 3 racks on the way for Bomber, so going to be going for one of these heavy bio plays. This is something that Bomber knows very, very well. Pardon me, yeah, there was no factory. I honestly just assumed that this was a factory, pardon me. Bomber going to be playing that 3 rack style. Robo's on the way for Haas. Bomber's got his Marines in position. Actually going to be able to catch this Adept. This could be very nice for Bomber. Perfect find there. Picks off the Adept like it's nothing. Haas a little bit overconfident. There we go. Stim and Combat Shield on the way for Bomber. So this is looking like it's going to be a very, very aggressive timing with a lot of bio coming out of the Terran player. Haas is teching into a Robo Bay though, and if there's anything that shuts down bio, it is Colossus. Maybe Disruptors, however, Colossus seem to get the job done these days. The fact that Haas is making a Warp Prism means that maybe it's going to be a Disruptor drop. Colossus really are what you want versus this, though. Of course, these timings can hit a little bit before the Colossus really are out. 60 seconds till Stim. I imagine Bomber will move out a little bit before that. He's producing double Marauders at the same time, which really will help out, although anything that is hit by a Disruptor just dies instantly. So let's see what's coming out of Haas. Observer for now. And he's going for the Disruptor. His Observer comes on in, scouts on out. This is the part in which Bomber's going to cross the map, though. A Disruptor will be on the way at some point. This could be a very painful moment ahead. Bomber now moving across the map with all of his bio. He's going to be following this up with a 3rd command center. 3rd command center and factory starting at the same time. Definitely not a standard thing. Bomber just wants to go for this push, then follow it up with macro, which is an interesting choice. The thing is, here's this Disruptor. Is Bomber going to split? No, he's not. Takes a big hit to a lot of his bio. That being said, I mean, Haas delayed everything else. There's not much of an army for Haas besides this Disruptor. Yes, that hurt Bomber. He's still gonna have Stim. He's still gonna have these Marines and Marauders. That Disruptor's not yet done. Bomber's running forward. Is he just gonna go for the 3rd base? That could be absolutely wonderful. Cancels it for Haas. Bomber just nabs up the 3rd base. He ate a Disruptor shot, gets to 3rd base, and then backs on out. He's gonna park this bio to the north here, which is a little bit curious. Haas probably assuming that it went on home, and if Haas restarts his 3rd base, Bomber could potentially capitalize on this. Look, he was hoping that Haas was restarting his 3rd base, and so he's going to back on out. Leave a single Marine there. Haas is moving across the map with his Disruptor, and the thing is, Haas is just powering up on Colossus, potentially 2 bases, Bomber making Marines, Marauders, a 3rd command center about to finish up. There's that 3rd base on the way again. Bomber is sending his bio home from the seam of it. Not going to be focusing on that. And this isn't a bad spot for Bomber. Look at the worker count. Disruptor still sharking about. Never makes life a little bit nerve-wracking for Terran, as you've always got to be prepared for something like this. Haas not dropping that Disruptor, though, still waiting. Oh, this bio, though, all clumped up for Bomber is a little bit concerning. Is he going to split? Oh, good retreat by Bomber. Loses just a Marauder to that Disruptor. Depends what side you look at it, though. Haas maybe wanting to get more. However, a free Marauder is still a free Marauder. Triple Viking production on the way for Bomber as he got up an extra starport. So going to be looking to shut down these Colossus hard, and he's going to be able to shut them down very hard if he gets up enough. And once the Colossus are out of the equation, Haas's army really is going to be nothing. It's just going to be Blink Stalkers. And that's where it's not looking too bad for Bomber. His economy definitely up on Haas's. Got to be careful not to eat any massive Disruptor hits. Oh, that Marauder and Marine did not retreat far enough. Disruptor picking them off. The Vikings are now out for Bomber, able to work away on this prism, and oh, looks like he's actually going to be able to get this prism. Disruptor is going to have to start waddling away home. Bomber wants to pick this off, though, and he's going to land the Vikings to be able to do so. They got to get on out of there, though, as Haas is now crossing the map with his army. Bomber's actually getting ready to intercept this, though, prevent Haas from coming down the ramp, and this is a ton of muscle here for Bomber. The Disruptor is still alive and in this army, though, so the Terran player does need to be careful. 4 Vikings being produced at a time. That counts 7 right now. However, the way it's just scaling, Bomber's just going to be able to demolish these Colossus. He's now moving across the map, though. Haas has caught him a little bit. Bomber not quite prepared for this. He does have all the Vikings, though, working away on these Colossus. A massive Disruptor hit goes down for Haas, though. The Colossus are still alive, putting out lots of damage. Bomber's trading on out. The Colossus will go down from the scheme of things, although all of Bomber's bio seemingly fell. The one of the Colossus might even be saved there. So Bomber taking a very bad engagement, losing pretty much all of his bio. He doesn't have a lot to his name now. The Colossus have fallen, though. However, it's possible that he can still be ran over with Blink Stalkers. His couple of Vikings here should be able to shut down this last Colossus, but SCVs or something may need to be pulled on into this. Here comes Bomber, yeah, pulling the SCVs right on in. The Vikings going to shut down that Colossus. They're going to need to land to get on into this fight. There's just so much for the Protoss player right now. Marauders are here for Bomber, though. That count has significantly increased, so he may be able to repel this. It's still a little bit concerning. Base numbers, it's possible that Haas can trade out with these Marauders. Doesn't look like it, though, as he is being forced back. Haas producing a Disruptor back at home as this goes on. Bomber able to hang on, loses 9 SCVs after a bit of a surprise engagement there as Haas was still out on the map. More Marauders are being produced for Bomber. That's really all that he's making. Haas doing a pretty decent job microing these Stalkers, even using the Prism to help on out instead of having to individually blink those units. That being said, Haas's Stalkers really starting to fall now. Bomber able to push Haas back after slaughtering a lot of those Stalkers now. And suddenly we've got Bomber with a ton of Marauders. Going to be loading up into his Medivacs, thinking of going for a drop or something. Does Haas see this, though? Looks like he didn't. So he's unprepared that this drop is coming on, and he's focused on a potential counterattack right now. However, or I guess going for a counterattack, whereas Bomber is beating him to the punch right now. These Medivacs going to be flying on into the main base of Haas. Bomber, just with better production at this point, has a lot more going for him, and here comes in these Marauders, going to be unloading at the back of this base. Haas, is he going to recall? He does have the energy for it. However, Bomber's also pushing in this other location. It looks like he caught some Stalkers, poorly rallied there. Charges on the way for Haas, however, is not yet ready. That Nexus gets picked off. Looks like Bomber's setting his sights on the Forge of Haas, so +3 attack is denied. Of course, Disruptors don't care about upgrades, so Bomber got to be careful of those. He's now retreating versus Zealots, just kiting these Zealots. He's going to have to kite these a long time there, as these handful of Marauders are just being chased indefinitely by these Zealots. They're whittling them down, guys. They're not doing bad. That's a couple of free Zealots there. Haas has to retreat on out with those. They now have charged, so they're a little bit quicker and can close that distance. However, Bomber picking off the main base of Haas, seemingly doing a lot better this game. His +2 going to be finishing up soon, which will actually give him an upgrade lead. He's got a good amount of bio across the map. He's gone into Liberator production behind this, which really shuts down Disruptors, which is Haas's really only possible tech path. Bio retreating versus this Bomber. I mean, does he really need to retreat versus this, though? He seems to be choosing to do so. However, his army just very, very scary compared to that of Haas. He's now up to 5 Liberators. Command center on the way. Bomber had these Medivacs chilling at the back of Haas's base for a long time. Now going to be making a move. He's unloading at the natural. It seems he's got these Liberators set up. Picks off one of the Disruptors. They're forcing Haas into a bad engagement, and this is just looking very good for the Terran player right now. Bio is unloading in the main base, trading out versus the Stalkers. Actually just going to beat him down. The Zealots are warping in. It's a little bit too late, though, I feel. The Zealots might be able to clean up these Marauders. However, Bomber's remaining army is just overwhelming. He's doubling the supply pass. Marauders actually doing decent versus the Zealots with the current upgrades there. And yeah, Bomber just looking pretty good after shutting down that attack from Haas. Haas 2 bases right now. Bomber unloading more into the main base. Tons of Liberators going to be rolling on up. Should be able to shut Haas out of his own base right now. There's no way Haas gets up that ramp, I feel. He's just got Stalkers and Disruptors. There's always a dream with Disruptors. Getting some decent connections. Pretty good there. However, Haas still has to blink up into these Disruptors. Gets actually another fantastic connection. Forces Bomber out. He has to lift up and unload to avoid those Disruptor shots. Bomber can maybe focus some of them down, but it is over, guys, if we look. Bomber just took out the third phase. Liberators massacring probes there. Alright, so Bomber puts one on the board. It's not going to be a clean sweep or anything like that. Make sure to Red Rider BB gun. Saying, like I said, 5-3 incoming. Automaton's going to be the next map. Seeing a couple follows come in for the channel, guys. I put these events on every now and then, so following the channel is always great to see. Of course, any support for the channel goes a long way as well. If you have an Amazon Prime account but don't use it, you can always subscribe for free. But we'll get everyone on into the game now. Are there still more of those Matcherino codes to use? Consider checking out the Matcherino. You can even get the event replays by supporting on there. It's like everyone is ready, so we're going to get on into it. Thanks so much for supporting. Here we go. Bomber and Haas. He put one on the board for himself. Can he get another? It's Bomber. Suddenly this best of 9 is looking like there's a little bit more hope in it. Looking like it could be a little bit longer, which is always awesome. Spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map. It's Haas. So we'll see what the plan is this time. Is Haas going to go for a Nexus first again? No, there we go. Gateway on the way. Had me wondering a little bit. Barracks on the way for Bomber. Simulator, everything else. Nothing out of the ordinary. Haas got a probe just sharking about for now. And he goes for a gold base. Was wondering what that was up to. Bomber's expanding to a normal location. He's going right into a reactor first. Bomber hates Reaper's ban. Warp gate on the way. Haas going for a gold base. What a madman. And Bomber not scouting. So he's not going to be aware of this. He's making a Reaper now. Okay, this is something that I saw Special do before. You get the reactor right away, then you make a Marine and the Reaper. which is always interesting. So this Reaper can dive on into the main base. Haas probably ruling it out at this point. So Bomber changing things up a little bit, but going for a 3 racks. Once again, 2 more barracks on the way, getting up a bunker at the front just to be extra safe. This is going to be curious. If I had to take a bet... Oh, look at this. Haas even recalls the probes. Okay, just like that, and he's saturated his gold base and is mining off it. You'd think that Haas is going to be going for charge. Something like that. Reaper crossing the map for Bomber. Drives on by that Nexus. Oh, the Reaper might actually go down, though. It's going to be close. Does manage to escape, though. That was very, very close. Oh, Haas is going to try and intercept this guy. And it might be looking a little bit tough for this Reaper. He's healed up. Does he heal up enough to escape once more? He's caught. I don't know if he's going to make it. Reaper eats one more shot. Somehow still alive. 1 HP. Able to get on out of there. Haas not able to corner that Reaper. So no charge or anything on the way. Haas just getting up some gateways. Got this gold base income. And is he just going to go for like a big Warp Prism attack with a lot of Stalkers and something like that? So the Reaper's alive for Bomber. It's actually going to harass these probes mining at the gold base, pull Haas's attention away. And look at this Reaper. It's actually completely shutting down mining at the gold base for Haas. One of the Stalkers has to come on back. Stalker will be able to shut down or deny that Reaper. Bomber, though, this is an interesting position right now. Haas is going to elevate these Stalkers into the main base with this Prism. These are blinkless Stalkers, though. I mean, yeah, look at this. Haas just going with a lot of Stalkers. Bomber, he's got up a decent Marauder count and decent bio count. He has been caught off guard by this, though. Haas focusing down that Tech Lab. Stim, not on that one, though. That was Concussive Shell, which is already done. Haas just settling for a Tech Lab. And we'll see how well his micro goes with these Stalkers. Marauders working away on them. So far, Bomber's staying alive. Force those Stalkers back. I mean, a Prism and Stalkers can always do well versus unstimmed bio, but when it's in this amount, it really is diminishing returns. Stim is now done for Bomber. I think he even sees that Observer, too. Eyeing that up. Haas steps forward into this bunker. Just not even able to take that down. The bio just puts out too much damage. And now Bomber, with all this stimmed bio, going to be able to cross the map. Haas has got to go home, but go home to what? He's got Zealots, but charges a ways away, and Bomber's crossing the map. Looks like he scans, picks off the Observer. +1 is on the way, so Haas looking for a potential upgrade advantage down the line. I just don't see a way of him ever stopping this bio that's crossing the map. I mean, there's no charge just yet, so Bomber just waltzing across, and once he stims, once those Zealots try and engage, Bomber can just stim back and kite, and it's going to be looking pretty good for him. Bomber runs forward, now just kiting back versus these Zealots. The Guardian Shield's helping the Zealots stay alive a little bit longer, picking off warping in Zealots. The bio is pretty overstimmed for Bomber, so that's a little bit concerning. This is where the Stalkers can start to pick it off. Okay, is Haas just going to be completely fine? Yeah, it looks like Haas is just completely fine. Good micro there on the Stalkers. As this is going on, though, the Reaper coming in, denying some more of the mining. 5 probes going down. Grenade being tossed. Look at that Reaper, man. It was a worthwhile investment for Bomber. He comes on in, checks out the natural as well. This Corporal Reaper with 6 probe kills. Bomber did a nice bit of damage to Haas there, and his economy is definitely better than Haas. Haas is the gold. However, that's going to start running dry relatively soon. Not a lot of minerals left in those patches. And once that's dry, that's going to become very problematic for the Protoss player, whereas Bomber got a 3rd CC on the way. Haas looks like he's just going to be committing to a lot of units. Nothing else on the production tab, more gateways. So I imagine he's just going to use what's left of this gold-based economy in order to make a ton of Zealots. I mean, it's not mined out just yet, so his mineral income is doing pretty decent compared to Bomber's. I mean, they're equal. And Bomber did trade out a lot of bios, so there's a chance that all these Zealots and Stalkers may be able to make something happen. Looks like Haas loading up some Zealots into the Prism. Going to be getting on into the main base. Bomber's going to have to react. However, it's going to be the typical 1-2 punch right now. Bomber knows he's got to react to this. He's going to pull some Marauders down here. However, that's not enough to stop the Zealots on this front. SCV is being pulled for Bomber, which I think is a very wise decision. Just to buffer, it does so much for the bio, keeping it alive. Looks like these Marauders in the main base doing the best they can. However, SCVs are really starting to fall. Bomber's able to push back Haas out the front. However, SCVs have to abandon the main as these charge lots are causing a lot of problems. Supply is equal. Bomber's up on army supply right now. Haas does have +1 though. Medivac's looking a little dry for Bomber as this bio is starting to get very red. He's lost 29, 30 SCVs. Haas has thrown up an extra base behind this. The bio is trying to chase down these Stalkers. Will be able to catch and kill them all. Can he shut down the Zealots in the main base? Haas is actually just warping in more and more Zealots. Widow Mines are there, but they're not burrowing, and this is potentially very problematic for Bomber. I mean, he lost 34 SCVs as this had gone on. That is well past what I'd argue is acceptable losses. He does still have bio, though. However, Haas finished his 1-1. So he's got these very nice upgrades. He's got an extra base finished up at this point, so he's able to keep that economy rolling. Not having to worry about that gold base expiring. Bomber has a third command center though, so when a Terran has a third CC, you want to say there's always a chance. So his income isn't too poor now. He's going to be moving out on the map with these Medivacs full of units. The bio is overstimmed though, so they're not really ready for this. Haas is getting ready to intercept this. This is stimmed bio though, so I'm not sure if these Stalkers are going to be up to the task. Keep in mind they do not actually have blinks, so Bomber able to focus these down. I guess the Sentry picks off the Zealot, trading on out. Haas got a couple more units coming on in. Going to be able to force Bomber back. Nicely done. Bomber's going to try and unload into the main base. However, Stalker's more than ready to anticipate that, shutting that down. And so far, Haas seems to be coming out ahead in this game. He's now got an Immortal on the way, +2 on the way. And once he has that Immortal, that really gives a nice backbone to this army. Haas is up on army supply. The Zealots are just monstrous here, causing Bomber a lot of issues. These Medivacs flying by. Looks like the two miss each other. So Bomber is going to be able to get on into one of these bases, potentially cause a lot of trouble here for his opponent. However, this bio moving across the map is going to be run right into these Zealots, and it needs to run right away. Bomber needs to pay attention here, needs to get that bio back, needs to stim and retreat. It's a little bit too late, though. He's got this bio that's working away on this Nexus, so picking that off would be nice. He's got to pull the SCVs, though, back into his main base if he's going to try and hold on versus these Zealots. He was just rebuilding at count. The bio's putting out as much damage as it can versus these Zealots in a fantastic choke point. He picks off the gold base from the seam of things. Over 22 SCVs have fallen. Once again, Zealots in the main base. Bomber with virtually no SCVs left. Army supply is pretty equal. However, once the dust settles, what situation is he going to be in? He's unloading into the main base, getting some damage done there, which is nice. He's going to start working away on this Nexus, although Haas should be able to warp something in to save this. And yeah, he's warping in a ton of Zealots, which are going to help out. Well, 4 Zealots, which should be more than adequate to deal with this. Bomber going to try and micro these units back to the best of his ability. He's still got a third command center, I mean, right? But he's not mining at his natural. Bomber's got a good chunk of bios still, guys. Haas just with Zealots and charge lots. Haas's economy has been hurt. Bomber's looking for that base, by the way. He's got to be thinking that Haas has something somewhere. Oh, but his Medivac's going to get caught, and it's not going to boost away. It doesn't even see the Nexus as compensation, and Bomber not landing his natural yet. He's going to be going for a bit of a sneaky command center, maybe. Maybe thinking of flying this over there. Nope. That's not going to be the choice. Going to settle for this command center instead. And Bomber's got 1-1 done now. He's got a lot of bio, guys. Like, you want to say there's a chance. However, the Zealots and Stalkers haven't been doing too poorly for themselves. Bomber now stepping out. This stemmed bio should be able to kite back. Bomber, to the best of his ability, going to be microing these Widow Mines, going to be getting some decent connections there. And these Zealots could be wearing thin as they step forward. Their health is starting to drop. Bomber's bio standing strong for now, able to push Haas back. He's got a couple more Medivacs on the way. Doesn't want to overcommit, though, with the counterattack. And there we go, more Zealots warping in for Haas. This is starting to look a little bit rough for Bomber. Not mining at his natural base right now. And this bio is tucked into the back of this corner. Mules that have been dropped. They're not going to be able to get too much done. Haas warping in more and more units. His economy is just too strong compared to that of Bomber's. Bomber with a couple more Marines coming on in. However, he knows that he's in trouble, and I don't think that he can hang on to the natural. Just more and more Zealots are going to be closing the gap, and this bio is just tucked into a corner and in a lot of trouble from the seam of things. That charge gets burned by Haas as those units aggro on that command center. Bomber trying to bait Haas into a bad engagement right now. The Medivac's healing up. And look at this Haas. He's just biding his time, waiting for the perfect engagement. Force fields could actually be working against himself right now. The command center's forced to lift off for Bomber. Haas actually just saying, all right, I'll take your command center if you're not going to give me a good engagement. Bomber accidentally clicking on those rocks there, retreating. But there's just too many zealots. GG Haas with the 4-1 lead. Okay, we'll get on into the next game as soon as we can. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in, though. It is looking a little rough for Bomber, though. If you're a Bomber fan, now's the time to pray. As Haas with the 4-1 lead, a little bit terrifying. We may still have a couple of those Batcherino codes to check on out, guys. Any support to the channel also goes towards making more of these events happen, by the way. King's Cove will be the next map. All right, we're getting everyone on into the lobby, then we'll get on into it. I mean, Haas is on match point, and Haas, Scary Pillow asking, Haas has been cheesing. Not really. I mean, he's done a couple of aggressive builds, but they haven't really been Haas's cheese. They've just been standard Protoss play, really, for the most part. Lots of charge lots of stalkers. Okie dokie, everyone's ready, so we're going to get on into it. Can Bomber make the comeback happen? Okie dokie. It's a best of 9. He's got 1 on the board, but he needs to get the next 4 in a row. It's Bomber. And up in the top left-hand side of the map, playing for J-Team, it's Haas. King's Cove is the map. Reminds me a little bit of Abyssal Reef. Gateway on the way for Haas. I mean, everything that Haas has been doing seems to be working. That one game which he lost, he kind of... I mean, he went for the Disruptor drop versus Bombers, fast 3rd, fast 3 racks play, and then just teched into Colossus, so... yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary there. Haas sending his probe down here. Checking for proxies, not trusting Bomber. Whereas Bomber's been straight ace so far. Haas moving out on the map with a probe. On match point. Bomber going for a Reaper this game. Probe's gonna get on in here. See that everything's standard. Bomber in the face of a 5-1 playing standard. You gotta respect that. Why change it? Although maybe he needs to change something up because it hasn't really been working. Just playing like a standard Terran, just Haas seems to be shutting everything down every step of the way. Probe confirms everything that needs to be seen. Going to be getting on out of there for Haas. Bomber's Reaper is crossing the map. Ooh, this probe, is it going to be found? Not quite. Nice hide on the probe there. Bomber wanted to try and find this probe. Unable to do so, though. And we'll see what Haas is going to tech into. Guys, we haven't seen a single Stargate. Okay, this is a very Bomber-esque thing to do. Probe's going to get on in. Bomber raises the depot, though. Third command center on the way for Bomber already. He says, yeah, I don't care. I'm down match point. 3 CC. Let's do it. My name's Bomber. Probe gets picked off as that Reaper comes on home. Stargate on the way for Haas. So, I mean, Haas seems to be a pretty standard Protoss opener, although these Stargate builds can always lead into some aggression, say with a couple Oracles and a lot of Gateway units. Reaper gets on in, confirms the Stargate for Bomber, which is a nice find. He's got an eBay on the way already, so should be prepared for that. Marines having to try and push this one stalker back. No bunkers up for Bomber, so stimless Marines can't really get the job done versus something like a stalker. There we go, a bunker now on the way for Bomber. Kind of a necessity when you're playing like this. Reaper's going to get on into the natural for Bomber. Looks to be trying to find himself a probe. Picks off the one probe. Nicely done. Reaper going to be getting into the main base. Once again, confirms that Stargate's on the way. Confirms a couple of gateways are on the way behind it, which is a pretty important scout. Bomber got a turret building up at his natural. Not in his main base, though. Very, very confident in that regard. Turret finishes up the second that Oracle gets on in. Perfectly timed. Haas transitioning, getting a Forge. Twilight on the way, so doesn't seem to be planning for some big aggression or anything like that. 5 Marines in position for Bomber. Enough to send that Oracle packing. And so Bomber seems to have gotten away with this greed more or less. The Reaper's been regularly scouting. Looks like Haas is going to try and shut down that Reaper. Yes, it's the end of days for the Reaper, so no more scouting for Bomber. Stim on the way, +1 on the way. Blink's on the way for Haas now, getting that +1. The thing is, for the timings, though, I mean, Bomber's build just, now that he's got his 3rd CC done, is going to be looking pretty well for him. He's going to have +1. He's going to have Medivacs on the way relatively soon. Going to have Stimpack versus a Protoss who has what exactly? Haas is going to have Blink. He's got his 1-1 on the way, which will be nice. He's getting up a Templar Archives. I can get behind that. I think the main thing right now is when Bomber tries to move out, is Haas going to have stasis wards to catch him like Protoss seem to catch every single Terran. Oracle gets bruised a little bit. More Marines coming into the main base. A turret tucked in the back there. Revelation goes down for Haas. With these Medivacs finishing up, though, things are going to be pretty good for Bomber. Combat shield, +1. Bomber's turret placement is interesting. Supply-wise, just look at the supply, guys. Haas is trying to rush out Psystorm, which you gotta respect. You want that AoE to shut down the Terran. He's just warped in a couple of High Templars, so Bomber needs to go now if he's gonna make something happen. Oracles reveal this bio. Bomber's crossing the map with some other bio, though. Psystorm might be done in time by the time these units get on in. This is a little bit concerning for Bomber. Medivacs are going to be boosting in towards the third base. Haas has teched quickly into that. Although, did Bomber sniff this out? Did he scout? He didn't even scout out the Templar Archives yet. He's already making a Ghost Academy. It's a good game sense, I guess, by Bomber now, unloading all these units. There's going to be some Psystorm with this feedback goes down on both the Medivacs, but Bomber nabs up 10, 12 probes. Has a couple more units into the main base. Going to be able to unload those. The Stalkers blink, trying to chase after these. However, Bomber able to focus down some more probes as this is going on. The Medivacs, one of them goes down, the other may be able to escape from the seam of things, and Bomber gets 19 workers just like that. Fantastically done. Oh my god, Haas, mistake with the Oracles. Bomber just annihilates them with... That was a firing squad. Just destroyed those Oracles. And Bomber got a nice bit of damage done. That being said, it's still a little bit concerning. You gotta respect the Psystorm, and Haas has 8 High Templar. Charge on the way for Haas. He's gonna have his 2-2, so that'll be very nice for the Protoss. Bomber, though, got a couple ghosts in this army. And those High Templar are looking mighty clumped up right now. Yeah, the concern is, though, for Bomber is that you have to EMP all the High Templar or else you can really be punished. And Haas, he's got a couple spread out here. There we go. Now he's spreading out the rest of them. Bomber is being rather passive, though, as the Terran sitting back versus the Protoss is always considered a risky thing. Here comes Bomber stepping forward now with some of his bio. Just a couple of High Templar out there on the map. Looking for some good old... Oh, God. Oh, okay. Haas just loses 4 High Templar. They wander forward just like it's nothing. He's trying to secure a 4th base. However, now he doesn't have those High Templar to help him secure it. He's got a couple more High Templar. However, this Psystorm... Oh, Haas gets a good feedback on one of the ghosts. Snipe goes down on another one, though. Picks it off. It's not often that you see High Templar honestly get sniped these days. So that is nice for Bomber. Shuts down the 4th base. There's a couple more High Templar here for Haas. Bomber's got a few more ghosts left. And these are going to need to be some wonderful storms for the Protoss player. They're pretty decent. They don't get the connections that he needs, though. Bomber's going to have +2 attack done, so at least equal on that front on the upgrades, and there's nothing here for Haas. Psystorm goes down, but it's just so much Terran Bow. Another Psystorm. Okay. Haas, another Psystorm. He's even got a couple more, but that High Templar does get picked off before it manages to go down. Bomber not going down without a fight. 4-2. Okie dokie. Bomber with a CC first coming out on top. Seeing a few more follows coming on in, guys. If you're checking out this event, feel free to hit that follow button. Okie, we'll find out the next map as soon as we can. And have we used all those Maturino codes? It'd be nice if there was a way to easily tell that, but in the meantime, feel free to check out that Maturino. And of course, if you guys want to support the channel, any support goes to future events or anything like that. You're a god, Red Rider BB Gun. Thank you so much for pointing out I was muted from when I was having a drink there. Nothing important was missed. Just rambling on, but here we are, up in the top right-hand side of the map. It's Bomber. And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's J-Team's Haas. I mean, when your opponent's on match point, you gotta play on your toes. When your opponent is Haas and is on match point, you really gotta play on your toes. Can Bomber do it? Refinery on the way. Barracks on the way. Nothing out of the ordinary here for Bomber. We haven't seen him cheese just yet. The most aggressive thing he did was that tank push, and that got shut down. So it seems if you can make it into a macro game with Haas, you're just fine, but it's not going to be happening this game. Haas with a proxy pylon. Double gas, though. Cybercore first. Okay, so is this going to be a proxy Stargate or something? Guys, we've got Haas in the game. Could we be seeing our first Hossy cheese? Because they've been pretty tame. I'll honestly say. Ah, Haas, look at this, though. Pulling Bomber out of position. Probe goes on out. Does Bomber see that probe and is like, you're out on the map there somewhere? The Marine is out at the front. Robo, oh my god. Double Robo. Okay, I've never seen this done versus Terran. And I'm someone who pretty much just proxy Robos versus Zerg, so Haas bringing this out versus Bomber. Wait, did Bomber just cancel his command center? He didn't scout this. I guess he confirmed that there was no Nexus. Or no. Yeah, he confirmed that there was no Nexus, so Bomber is on his toes. He actually just canceled his command center. Bomber's getting up a bunker. He's making a Reaper to try and identify what's coming his way. Haas with the first Immortal on the way. What do you make as Terran to shut this down? You probably want to get up a starport, right? Bomber, though, just throwing up an extra barracks. I feel as if not having a factory or something like a Widow Mine or a Cyclone or something to shut this down could make it very, very tough, because these Immortals are going to be more or less unchecked. This is getting concerning here for Bomber. He's got that Reaper out. He can try and scout it out. He's going to see that there's a shield battery on the way out. No, he doesn't even see there's a shield battery. He sees a pylon. The Reaper can't even escape, though, and now there's a Prism and an Immortal out. And this is where it's going to become very, very tough for the Terran player. I think at the very least, Bomber needs to start up a couple more bunkers. Something like that. There we go. Another bunker on the way up for Bomber. I think he needs to get up even more or something like that. Haas steps forward. Trying to focus down that. Yeah, Haas manages to focus that down. SCVs need to be pulled for Bomber into this. You can't hold this. He needs to start up another bunker, I think. Something like that. No factories on the way for Bomber. He's just going to be bleeding out. I think Haas has done it. GG. Right. Bomber knows that there's no chance. All right, Haas takes it, 5-3. A little bit sad for those of you that are Bomber fans. But GG gets called. Thanks so much to anyone who tuned in today, by the way. If you guys did enjoy this coverage, make sure to hit that follow button. Consider supporting the channel and whatnot, and for a while you'll still be able to grab the replays and support the event on Matcherino. So check that out. 5-2, pardon me. Or 5-3. 5-2. So you can check out the Matcherino on that. And then you guys can also check me out at !Caster. Follow me on Twitter. The goal is to have more followers than I am following people. So we need one more person to follow me on Twitter. And then you can check me out on YouTube as well. I'll put up the VODs there. There's VODs for all the past show matches, guys. This is the 14th I've done. I do a lot of other content on there, so it's definitely worth checking out my YouTube if you're a StarCraft 2 fan. And then you can also check out... Yeah, you can also check out whatever you like. Not much else to add. I mean, yeah, the event's over. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Make sure to hit that follow button. And thanks so much to everyone who has supported the channel and whatnot. Without your guys' support, these events would not happen. We'll find someone to host. It's a bit of a different time, so I'm not sure who to host. MC is streaming. How do you raid someone? Okie dokie. We will raid MC. We'll turn off the stream. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. And I'll see you guys next time.